Welcome. Thank you for joining us for Up to the Minute. I'm Dr. Lana Pigao, Communications Director for Northwest College, and here is where you can find us. We are on the Houston City College District Facebook page and YouTube. We're also on X, LinkedIn, and on HCC TV at noon, 5, and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday. If you have a story you'd like us to feature right here on Up to the Minute, we'd love to hear from you. For general inquiries or to share story ideas, you can email us at hcc.uptotheminute@hccs.edu or go ahead and give us a call at 713-718-6395. We promise we'll answer the phone. Well, today we're joined by Nathan Rosas. He's Career Services Specialist here at HCC. The Career Services Office connects students and alumni with resources to explore career paths, gain real-world experience, and connect with employers. Whether you're searching for a job, looking for an internship, or attending career and transfer fairs, the resources this office provides can help you prepare for your next career step. Nathan will join us to talk about the upcoming career fair that he and his office are putting together to bridge the gap for students who are graduating and joining the workforce. And it's also for students who are looking for an internship during the summer. Nathan will tell us all about those career fairs in about 10 minutes. But first, we're talking about the upcoming ACC MS 150 powered by Noble. The 2026 Texas MS 150 is a 2-day bicycle ride with starting locations in Houston and Austin and finishing in College Station. There are multiple route options available, including a brand new one that's a 1-day option with fully staffed rest stops and medical teams. That ride is April 25th through the 26th. And after this quick commercial break, our first guest will join us in just a minute. Welcome back. Our first two guests are here to tell us about the MS 150 event and living with multiple sclerosis. Emily Garcia is the AVP of Endurance Events and the National MS Society, and Andrea Bedoy, a rider participating in the MS 150, is also here, and she is living with MS. Well, welcome to the show, ladies. Thank you for your time today. So, Andrea, let's start with you. Tell us about your diagnosis and why you wanted to take on this very tough and grueling challenge.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us today.
Absolutely.
So my first symptom, I was in West Virginia hiking with my best friend when I started feeling pressure and pain behind my right eye. About a week after that first symptom, I was completely blind in my right eye, and I found myself in the neuro unit at Houston Methodist. I was in there for 8 days. I had lost function on my right side, and that's where I was diagnosed with MS. So mentally, my mental health took a big toll. And so I started doing occupational and physical therapy to kind of get back to my normal, what my new normal would be like. And my dad had ridden in the MS 150 the year I was born, 1997. And so he kind of brought up this idea of maybe, one day we'll ride this ride. And he was just riding just for fun. He didn't realize all these years what he would be helping me with, I guess. So anyway, 4.5 months later, I do a ride tour to Houston, where I meet some people from the MS Society, and they kind of brought me in. And then next thing I know, 4.5 months later, like I said, I rode the MS 150, and I met my new family, really. So that's how I initially was diagnosed, and how I got involved with MS.
Let me ask you about your diagnosis. Did they diagnose you immediately, or did it take a while for them to really understand what was happening with you?
So luckily, I was diagnosed right away. That's not, many people are not diagnosed as quickly as I was. Luckily, it was something, in your face. I lost my vision. We had to figure that out quickly. And so I was initially diagnosed with optic neuritis, which is a symptom of MS. So that's kind of how it led.
Yeah. I was just reading a story on Christina Applegate, who's very honest about her diagnosis with MS. And she said that, thinking back now, that she had symptoms when she was much younger, like tingling in her fingers and her feet and things. Did you experience
I did, yes. Back in middle school, I had a lot of tingling and numbness in my right hand. But it's really difficult for your PCP to order an MRI just for some numbness and tingling. It could be so many other things, right? And so that's what happens with a lot of patients. They go undiagnosed, or they don't get diagnosed right away because of this symptom that could be other things.
Right.
And so luckily for me, I didn't have many symptoms up until then, and it was kind of an in-your-face symptom. So.
Well, tell us about finding your second family
Yeah,
with this society.
So like I said, I started training to do the MS-150, and Emily Garcia was the first person that I met that I kind of got me involved. So through her, I met other people, and it just became you realize that everybody there is working for people like me. And it just, a lot of the people that are working at MS Society don't have MS. They're doing this because they love the mission, right? And I just felt so welcoming, or so welcomed by everybody there. And so I'm going to keep coming back. I'm going to keep fundraising. I'm going to keep volunteering where I can. Yeah.
But it must be nice to have that support system.
Feeling seen and heard.
Right.
It's really important. And luckily I do have a really good support system at home, but they don't always understand, right? And whenever you're in the society involved in there, a lot of people know what it's like, or they have somebody that has MS, so they're more familiar.
Yeah. Well, Emily, what brought you to the MS Society and the MS-150 ride?
So I've been working nonprofits here in Houston since the early 2000s. I don't want to date myself, but I guess
I know when she said she was born in 1997, I almost fell off my chair.
I was not born at but the mission is really, really strong. My husband actually used to ride the Texas MS-150 in the very early days of us moving to Houston. And so it was something that I always knew about, something I always appreciated. He's actually got 3 family members who are living with MS. So it was a personal thing for them as well, or for our family. And so I've been with them for the last 4 years, working on the Texas MS-150 and other bike MS events around the states of Texas and Oklahoma. And it's just a fantastic organization that I'm super glad to be a part of.
So let me ask you, Emily, the percentages of female versus female MS survivors. What is it more women get diagnosed with MS, and is there a reason for that?
A lot of women get diagnosed with MS. They're still trying to find out all of the different things. I mean, the one thing that we have to kind of realize is that advancements in MS over the last 5 years have been more than the last 30 combined. So they are moving quickly, but it's just been in the past couple of years that they've really been able to make strides. What was once thought of as, being a very specific illness for a very specific demographic has become, no, this is everyone's disease. It's not limited to sex. It's not limited to race or any of those things. And they're finding more about it every day. And the symptoms also look very different. When you sit and talk with Andrea, her symptoms are going to look very different than someone else. It could be mobility challenges, it could be cognitive, and in her case, obviously, it was ocular. So it really is something that has a variety of different faces.
Right. So the MS-150 is the largest cycling event in the U.S. Is that correct?
It is the largest of the bike MS events. So the National MS Society hosts 49 different bike rides across the country to raise funds. And as a group, it raises about $52 to $53 million a year. The Texas MS-150 is the largest of all of them. This past year, we raised 10.9 million, and this year our goal is 11.3.
And why is it important to raise money for this? And how important is it to help find a cure?
It's extremely important to find a cure. So not only to find a cure, the one thing I will say is that when we do find a cure, our work is not done. There's over 1 million people in the US who are living with this disease. And because it's been so unknown and the amount of treatments have been so limited for so many years, we really do have a lot of work to do within that space. There's a couple of different kinds of MS that people can be diagnosed with, and all of the treatments right now are really focused on relapsing remitting MS. There is another group of people that have what is called primary progressive MS, and there are no treatments for those folks that are currently on the market. So our work is very important to continue moving forward.
Right. Andrea, tell us what the training is like for such a long ride for you.
Absolutely. So luckily this ride has multiple routes. So if you don't want to do the whole entire route, you don't have to. It's great. So there's you can do as much as one mile if you want. Just getting on a bike. The fundraising is the hard part, right? The bike ride really is just a celebration. And so if you want to do the entire bike ride, which is what I had done, I didn't do much training the first time. I thought, a couple rides over here or now and then would be enough. And I was able to finish it. But if you want to not be as sore the next day, maybe a little bit more training would be required. But again, there's so many different routes. If you want to do 1 mile, 20 miles, or the whole thing, there's something for everybody.
Now, it's a 2-day ride, correct? So overnight, do you all stop at a certain area and just kind of camp out?
We do. The day one finish, both on the Austin and the Houston side, all of those riders meet together in LaGrange, Texas. We joke that we double the population for one weekend a year. There are about 4,000 people. Not all riders stay in LaGrange, but there's about 4,000 people that camp overnight. We really turn it into a tent city and have a party. We've got a band that puts on a concert. Lots of really, really fun stuff happening when you get to LaGrange.
Wonderful. Well, Emily, what are some of the other ways that people can get involved with the society if they don't want to take that 150-mile?
You do not have to get on a bike in order to support the MS Society or the Texas MS 150. We do have lots of opportunities, including donating. But one of our biggest challenges right now is volunteers. This ride takes upwards of 2,000 volunteers to kind of pull it off. And so anyone that is interested, if you go to our website, you can see the volunteer tab, and we would really encourage folks to come out and just get a taste of what it looks like from the volunteer perspective. Maybe we'll get you on a bike next year.
And at your website, there's also listed other events that they can get involved in, not just the bike ride.
Absolutely. Yes. We do walks, we do luncheons, we do all kinds of events. We really do have a little something for everyone if they want to get involved.
Great. Well, Andrea, what are some of the most common misconceptions, and how does your advocacy help fight those misconceptions?
I think the biggest one that I faced myself was that you're not alone. I felt very isolated initially, but you're not alone, and there's a group of people out there for you that know exactly what you're going through. And so I'm also an MS ambassador, and so I go to speak to different companies, and I'm also a patient advocate. So any newly diagnosed patients that need a little bit of how do I get involved, or who do I talk to? What's my next step? I also I can assist with that, and so you're just not alone. That's the biggest takeaway.
Oh, that's great. Well, Emily Garcia and Andrea Bedoy, thank you for your time. We'll put your information in our page notes after the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we'll take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will be joined by Nathan Rosas from the HCC Career Services Center.
For over 50 years, HCC has been here for you. Affordable, accessible, focused on your success. This is your college, growing, evolving, expanding with you. More bachelor's degrees, stronger workforce training, online learning with global reach. A new name, the same mission, bigger vision. Houston City College, local focus, global reach. Register now at hccs.edu.
Welcome back. Nathan Rosas is an HCC Career Services Specialist. With students ready to graduate and join the workforce, many need help landing that first job. And some people who have new skills, they want to change careers. Nathan's here to tell us about resources available through Career Services and about the career fairs. Welcome, Nathan.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us, what are some of the resources in your office that students may not be fully taking advantage of?
So one thing is maybe a career assessment, just trying to figure out what they should be doing in life, where they should start. Obviously for some new students, especially if they're first gen students, this is their first time in college, and and they may not know that first step to take, and we can help them to find that. We can help them to find their strengths, their weaknesses. We have a skills test and assessments that can help them really determine who should they be in life, really. Another thing is we have mock interview practice. So obviously the day will come that you're going to have to interview in front of somebody, and we can help hone those skills. So there's an array of things that we can offer students. But honestly, a lot of it is just getting them to know who we are, what we do, and what we can do for them. It's just getting our name out there. I'm in the classrooms all the time trying to get students to, come see us, come visit us. And, it's kind of challenging sometimes. We got such a large student body population, and the staff for career services is one of the smaller staff that we have out there. So we can't get to everybody, but we try.
Well, tell us what career fairs are coming up and who can attend those.
So any student, that's currently enrolled or an alumni student can attend our career fair. So just for the spring semester, we had over 15 career fairs spread across our 6 divisions. We're going to round off this semester with, I think we have 2 more career fairs remaining. One is a pharmacy tech career fair at our Coleman Health Sciences campus. And then we have an upcoming construction management and related majors at the Central campus. Of course, the semester is only a few more weeks away before we finish. And so not much going on during the summer, but students can still look forward to some on-campus recruiting. We're always having events like that. All of our events can be found in the Career Hub system under events or announcements.
Well, what can you tell us about student career pathways, and what are some common misconceptions about finding a new career?
So, let's address this. So we all know somebody that graduated from college and they are not using the degree that they went to school for. And at the same time, we have others that step right into it. So what's the difference? Okay. I think one of the differences is that students concentrate too much on a major or career path. Let's take, for example, like business. Business is highly popular with students. But what job do they want with that? Under the umbrella of business, there's accounting, finance, marketing. There's so many different things. Okay. And so if students would concentrate more on the job itself, what job do they want for the future versus a career path or a major, they would be better suited. Another thing is that if that future job requires, let's say, high level of education, like let's say bachelor's or master's degree, well, the student should immediately include their transfer specialist or the university in that conversation, because this will also help guide them along the way. And the last thing I would say about that is to do your research. I have so many students that don't do the research into what they're about to step into. I was doing a presentation for Texas A&M students not too long ago, and a student asked me, do engineers use a lot of Excel spreadsheets? And my response to that was, the fact that you're not aware of that, you may have already chosen the wrong major. They're not doing a research on who they're trying to become. And eventually this will come out. So, when you're in front of an employer and they're interviewing you, they'll know right off the bat if you should have ever become an accountant or engineer or whatever the case may be, because a lot of times, you can ask a simple question like, tell me about yourself. Who are you? And they never stop to figure that out. They just started college. They kept going without any type of direction. And that's part of the reason why we see, some of the challenges we see with students graduating or transferring.
One of the hardest questions when I was first looking for a job was, tell us about yourself. I had no idea what to say. I didn't even know that was a question. So I think it's really important that you all help those students figure out how to respond to those questions.
Yeah.
So a lot of our students are graduating and they may be concerned about the local job market. And I just read that we may not have right now an economic recession, but there is a job recession. What are you seeing when it comes to job seekers here in Houston as compared to across the nation?
So actually, I'll answer that from a Texas standpoint. Okay, so the Texas economy is strong. When when COVID happened and everybody was getting laid off, everybody's moving to Texas, and there's a reason for that. One reason is that we partner. So, for example, ACC, we have partnerships with all of the local colleges and throughout the state of Texas. Our goal is to help people stay employed in Texas and get a job in Texas, and also fill the places, the gaps where we need it. Like, we need more engineers, we need more nurses, whatever the case may be. I'm not really seeing too much of a decline. We still have some very strong career fairs this semester. But you also have to look at this, that when we have hiring events, these employers are coming from all over the United States. Our featured employer at the Engineering Career Fair, they came all the way from Ohio. They were here, yeah, and they came out and supported our students, offered them internships, and even willing to pay for relocation. So, it's hard to just pinpoint one specific location. Now, as far as pathways, okay, there's certain things that impact that. For example, we know about the crisis with the oil and gas right now. Okay, this directly impacts majors such as engineering. That it revolve around that. And so but still, at the end of the day, if the student is able to show to any employer, whether you're in front of 5 or 50, how you're going to be able to add value to them, and that's going to be the whole key. We try to put the student in front of many employers as possible. Again, that's why we have so many different hiring events and on-campus recruiting, to give them as many opportunities as they can to meet the employer. So regardless if the market is light or we're in abundance, it's really up to the student to get out there and network, connect with people, and let people know who they are and how they're going to help their company grow, what they can do for them, what I can do for you with the degree I just earned. These are the things I think the students should concentrate on more so.
So for students who are not yet graduating, and they have some time to prepare for the job market, what are some of the events you have coming up for the fall?
So in the fall, of course, one of our biggest events is the Engineering Career Fair. Go back to that same engineering presentation I was doing for A&M students. I had a student say, well, Mr. Rosas, this is my first semester. Why would I attend an event like that? I'm not ready for a job. Okay. Well, why don't you come find out if you should be an engineer? Find out from the hiring managers themselves what it takes to become an engineer. If the market's going to be tight, why don't you ask them what's going to set you apart? What skills should I be developing now over the next 4 years? Or even what should my resume look like over the next 4 years? All of these questions can be answered at events like that. We're also going to probably have some, actually going back to the fact that this is a major pathway, several divisions at ACC have business career fairs, accounting, marketing, these kind of things. And so we're looking forward to possibly having one again at Northwest. We had one at our Katy campus a few weeks ago. It was a great success, good student turnout. We had several employers there. And we're looking forward to similar events. Now, one thing that we do want to focus on a little more going forward is some on-campus recruiting and on-campus interviewing. We get that the students have tight schedules, they're working, they're in class. So why not bring those employers to the campus and have them, interviewed right then and there? This is we think it's a great opportunity for students to meet employers and make a potentially good match. Also, as far as professional development, we have things like resume reviews, interview practice, and it's not just us. So we actually bring employers from the industry to help us with this stuff. And it's good opportunity for the students to learn directly from, professionals that are in their field, people that were once in their shoes, and learn and gain. And not to mention, we have seen students get internships in those events, hey, this is just a resume review, but I like what I see on your resume. So let's invite you for an interview. So, we're looking forward to these type of events in the future.
Great. Well, Nathan Rosas, HCC Career Services, thank you for your time today. We will have a link to your site on our post show notes.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
We'll take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have some important save the date announcements. Don't go far. Welcome back. Here are a few upcoming events we think you should know about. Join us for the first annual Through Our Lens Film Fest, an evening of short films that invite you into stories most people never think to tell. Hosted by Eagle Spark in partnership with the Vast Bridges to Pathways initiative, this film fest highlights the work of students from the Vast Pathways Bridge to Success program, a community of neurodiverse learners using storytelling to share perspectives we don't often see. And that is happening April 29th from 6 to 9 p.m. at the West Loop campus. Join us for a powerful morning of community celebration and workforce impact as part of National Apprenticeship Week, a nationwide event that highlights the value of registered apprenticeships in strengthening America's economy and expanding career pathways. National Apprenticeship Week is a national celebration convened by the U.S. Department of Labor where employers, apprentices, industry leaders, educators, workforce partners, and government agencies come together to showcase the success and value of apprenticeship programs in developing a highly skilled, diverse workforce. The event is a perfect opportunity to connect, learn, and celebrate the role apprenticeships play in driving business success and growing career opportunities in high-demand industries. And that's happening April 30th from 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. at the West Loop campus. And join Chancellor Dr. Margaret Ford Fisher and Houston City College leadership for an engaging discussion about the future of HCC and the opportunities ahead for our students, staff, and community. This event is the community partnership meeting, and it is a great opportunity to ask questions and get real answers. Engage in meaningful dialogue and have open discussions with policymakers and partners, all in an informal setting. And this is happening April 28th at 2 p.m. at the West Houston Institute. And Houston City College welcomes you to join the Veterans Community Resource Fair sponsored by the City of Houston's Office of Veterans and Military Affairs. This event is dedicated to honoring those who've served and to ensuring that veteran service members and their families have access to the tools, services, and networks they need to thrive in civilian life. On-site representatives are ready to answer questions, help with applications, and guide you through the available programs. There'll be a networking opportunity to connect with other veterans, community partners, support groups, and service providers. And that's happening April 29th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the South Campus on Airport Boulevard. Well, thank you for joining us today. That's all we have for now. We'll see you all next time on Up to the Minute.